This is the sermon for January 22nd, 2023, and it's entitled Walk in Wisdom. I'm going to read from Proverbs 9, 1 through 6. This is one of my favorite passages. Lady Wisdom has built and furnished her home. It's supported by 7 hewn timbers. The banquet meal is ready to be served. Lamb roasted, wine poured out, table set with silver and flowers. Having dismissed her servants, Lady Wisdom goes to town, stands in a prominent place, and invites everyone within the sound of her voice. Are you confused about life? Don't know what's going on? Come with me. Oh, come, have dinner with me. I've prepared a wonderful spread, fresh baked bread, roast lamb, and carefully selected wines. Leave your impoverished confusion and live. Walk up the street to a life with meaning. And then from Ephesians 5, verse 1 and 11 through 17. Be imitators of God as beloved children, and walk in love as Christ loved us. Don't waste your time on useless work, mere busy work, the barren pursuits of darkness. Expose these things for the sham they are. It's a scandal when people waste their lives on things they must do in darkness where no one will see. So watch your step, use your head, make the most of every chance you get. These are desperate times. Don't live carelessly, unthinkingly. Make sure you understand what is expected of you. Well, the scriptures are full of passages that invite us to embrace wisdom and live a meaningful life that honors self, God, and others. In fact, it's a definition of wisdom that life is full of meaning and purpose, full of love and compassion, full of engagement in community. So wisdom comes from meaning, purpose that is greater than just the self. And wisdom comes from love and compassion, and full engagement in community is important for wisdom as well. It really is the kind of life that we all long for. And with the church declining in many places, I wonder how people get meaning, purpose, works of compassion, and full engagement in community, or even common sense and insight, things that are important for wisdom. I know that there are people who work with the homeless, there are people who work with serving in community, certainly people that make things happen in a small community like Davis or Durand, people that volunteer, people that are part of governance and they do it well and they do it with insight. That's an important part of building community. There's wisdom available in that. But really, we all long for community that works well, that is full of care and concern for others. What kind of life does our world encourage? By contrast, I think the world says, what's in it for me? And what do I buy to make my life happier? That certainly is the machinery of capitalism and consumerism, and it's all around us. What can I consume to make my life happier? And how do I work harder and harder to earn more and more money and have more fun? Or for some people, working less and less in order to have more fun. It all depends on how you're oriented toward things. We have built a high quality life in many ways with capitalism. We've been encouraged on to greater discoveries, greater quality of life in many, many ways. It's very important. Like people say, you wouldn't want to go back in time to live in a time 100 or 200 years ago, because you would do without all the discoveries and all of the amazing things that we have today. But It's also an engine that runs on our spending more and more endlessly. Uh, our country, our economy runs on people spending more and more. If we didn't, things would contract. So, what does that say? Is it important to spend more and more all the time? I think Lady Wisdom is inviting us to a meal, to conversation, to community, to honoring God. So look at the combination of common sense, vision, insight, and compassion. I absolutely love that Lady Wisdom doesn't offer a list of do's and don'ts. She doesn't invite laws. She doesn't. Instead, we're invited to sit down for a meal and conversation. How important that is. We are invited into relationship. That is a key to wisdom. A relationship with God, a relationship with one another, a relationship with nature, a relationship with everything good. It's not systematic theology, although some people are good at that. This is not that. It isn't a courtroom full of laws. It's hospitality, a meal. It's nourishing to body and soul. It's a home and a table filled with beauty. I love the way it's a home built with 7 hewn timbers. So it's a big, spacious indoor place that allows space to breathe and have room to stretch and to invite others. They say that when things are really tough, you don't build higher walls, you build a longer table. You include more people to figure it out. Everyone is welcome. It's a table set with silver and good food, good wine, and even flowers. That seems so superfluous, so unnecessary, and yet beauty is important. It's not just beans and rice, the meager meal, the bare minimum. It's not just enough food to survive. Instead, it's a banquet. The table is full of good food and drink. Come to the table, she says. She invites you. Are you confused about life? Don't know what's going on? Come with me. Oh, come, have dinner with me. That is such a personal invitation. I love it. I prepared a wonderful spread, fresh baked bread. Oh, I love the smell of fresh baked bread. Roast lamb. I remember roast lamb from my childhood. My mom, just 2 or 3 times a year, would buy lamb and we would eat it. And I remember how amazing it was. Carefully selected wines. If you don't have a problem with alcohol, it's an important part of a gourmet meal. Now, some people do, and I think life can be rich without it. Leave your impoverished confusion, Lady Wisdom says, and live. Walk up the street to a life with meaning. She says, are you confused and don't know what's going on? Do you need a direction and purpose? I've heard that some colleges, to help young people who are confused with mild depression and anxiety, that these college advisors are inviting the young people to get out and volunteer in a nursing home or in an animal shelter or somewhere similar. And they invite the young people to get out of themselves and to focus on others. And then the mild anxiety and depression is better. If we focus just on ourselves, we might stay in a repeating cycle of anxiety and depression, lost in our thoughts, lost in our computer screens, disconnected from the reality of trees and rivers and prairies and real people and touch, even touch. Lady Wisdom says, leave your impoverished confusion and live. There are people around us who are trapped in confusion. They've lost track of what's truly valuable. How can we show them love and connection? How can we model for others what wisdom looks like? If we can't turn to our elders for wisdom, we won't be very good at becoming elders that are wise. So we need to find the wisdom around us, and the church is a good place for that. But we have to be discerning to find it. James Clear said something amazing this last week. He said, imagine all your responsibilities and obligations vanish overnight. What would you miss doing? What calls to you? Instead of taking a full schedule that is just full of distractions and trying to figure out which activities to drop out, he said it's better to imagine everything dropping out and then picking up the pieces that you really long for. I love that. You can do away with some of the distraction and confusion. I'm still drawn to a better understanding of addiction. There are substances, foods, even activities that are super stimuli. Think about how video games are full of bright colors and bells and whistles, and they hack the brain in a way that makes you want to do more and more. Anything that is hard to put down has the potential for addiction. Highly processed foods are addictive. They aren't found in nature. And humans are designed to be healthy and to not have too much distraction. We're meant to have open spaces. I love that about Lady Wisdom's house. There are open spaces. We weren't meant to sit in cubicles or at desks or in front of the TV all day, every day. And then when you leave, you drive from place to place. We were meant to be in nature. Think about our emotions and the emotions of young people. There's the comparison game, and young people are getting lost in social media and comparisons. There's shame, there's anxiety, there's depression. Instead, we're meant to be face to face, and that's why masks are difficult. Sometimes they're necessary, but they are difficult. We need to be face to face with others, doing fun activities and building friendships. Young people especially can do this. How do we work to build a better society based on wisdom? And then look at the Ephesians passage. It says, be imitators of God as beloved children and walk in love as Christ loved us. Well, being imitators of God, that's too tall an order for me. I can't do that. That's why I want to look at wisdom. But we do know that there are busywork activities in society. There are shams that we can name them for what they are. It's not real. We need to focus on what's real. Use your head, Paul says. Get common sense, wisdom, and insight. Make the most of every opportunity. And Paul said these are desperate times. Boy, if they were desperate in Paul's age, aren't they still desperate today? Don't live carelessly, unthinkingly, Paul said. So how do we get wisdom? I think we get it from Christian teachings. We get it from learning compassion with one another. We get it from prayer. We get it from nature. We get it from doing good in the world. And we get some of it from our wise elders. I have some ideas on how to make the world a better place, but we need to do it together. Where's your calling to make the world a better place? Let's talk about how we can do it together, because alone, it's like a coal, lit coal, like from a fire. We need each other to really have the fire lively and at its best. Sometimes it's good to play and to lose ourselves in distractions, but by and large, we can look for wisdom. What are the healthy things that we can do? So I wanted to include this prayer. This is a Buddhist prayer, but I love it for Christians and for all humans everywhere. May my heart be filled with the living presence of love, kindness, joy, and peace. May my heart always be open, receptive, and generous. May my actions and words always be gentle and kind. May I always remember to be grateful. May my heart rest in perfect ease and well-being. May the love that fills my heart always be the source of happiness and peace wherever I am, wherever I go, and whatever I do. This is wisdom. Amen.